Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. This is not, there we go. This is not exactly what you see, but it's close. Okay. So don't pay attention to that. That's just teacher stuff. It just means you're working on it. That's a good thing. So if you notice, this was due yesterday at 8 a.m. Just because it says it was due yesterday doesn't mean you can't still open it and work on it. Okay, it's still accessible to you. Remember I mentioned that, you know, like a 75% is a B, 100% is an A. Usually cons are only 4 questions, so it's going to be either or. Sometimes there's like 5 or 6 questions. That's rare. But then if there's something in between 75 and 100, I give you an AB. Or if there are multiple, like tonight's assignments, there's 8 con, but they literally, if they take 5 minutes a piece, I'd be surprised. Okay. So, you know, if you get A's, if you get hundreds on all of them, you get an A. You get B, if you get 75s on half and hundreds on half, I do like an AB, that sort of thing. So just so you know, even if it's past due, you can still go in. Like if you had a B and you want to bump it up to an A, you can still do that. Just go in, open it up, just tell me, and so I can change the grade. So these are all due now next week. There we go. Next week, Monday's Labor Day, right? We start our drop schedule. So Tuesdays 4 and 8 is dropped. So we don't see each other on Tuesday. So next time we see each other is Wednesday. So that's why these are due Wednesday, right? Wednesday morning. Like I said, if these take 5 minutes a piece, I'd be surprised. So look, just scanning, the topics, right? Graphs, tables. So we're talking about approximation that's down at the bottom of our flow chart, right? Always keeping that flow chart in mind. That's on the back of your, keeping your notes on the back of your schedule. So tables and graphs, we're approximating. We're trying to read between the lines. We're watching where the y values are trending. Otherwise, we're way up at the top. Otherwise, we're up here, and I call it plugging and showing. There's a function. We're putting in our approach to value, and we're finding out what our finite value is. Or if it's infinity, and then infinity or doesn't exist. Those are the 2 strategies we have right now. Those are our go-tos, and that's what all of these deal with. When you get to the bottom 4, and we're talking about properties, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, that sort of thing. Okay. So any questions about what you're seeing in con? All right. On to the next thing. Okay, so these are what we discussed yesterday. What does sine x over x look like? Exactly. Okay, awesome. So let's annotate the function on the board. Here is -3. I want to find the limit as I approach -3 from the left side. What's my notation? X approaches -3, negative, right? Because I'm approaching the little negative sign says I'm coming up to -3. No, it's not. It's -2. My bad. Restart. Restarting's okay. I just can't count. Ready? So I'm approaching -2 from these values that are smaller than -2. I have a number line in the back of the room. Just for reference, we need that a lot at all math levels. Okay, those numbers to the left of -2 are little. Sometimes they call them big negatives. Okay, so as I'm approaching -2 from the left on my function, where are my y values trending? Okay, let's try this one. As I am approaching -2, now I'm approaching from what side? So I need what right here? As a negative. On my function, my y values are trending Those are both one-sided limits, right? We're only looking, it's like when you put paper over this and just look here for vice versa. What if I want the whole limit? Does it exist? No, it doesn't. Why doesn't it exist?
Because
Okay.
single limit.
Okay, that could be one reason. There's actually another reason you could say that would actually be correct as well. The values are infinite. Okay, because using the term infinity, it does not exist, are the same thing. Does that make sense? Like even if this, instead of going down, if this would go up and go to positive infinity as well, limit still doesn't exist because it's infinite. But that's a viable answer too. Positive infinity and negative infinity are two different answers, right? Positive infinity is over there in the number line. I'm looking at the line back there. Negative infinity is over there, two separate spots, different value. Let's talk about approaching 1, 2, 3, the limit. As x approaches 3 of f of x. Notice I know plus or minus, right? I got nothing up here, nothing. Which means I have to look at, it's like two problems. I have to look at both sides. You got to make sure, we talk about bugs walking on the function, right? Here's my little bug walking on the function. What's the limit as I approach x equals 3? So approach 3, excuse me. Right? 3. Does it matter if there's not a value there and it's up there? Oh. Right? As my bugs walk and walk and walk, they trend towards this location. They're on either side of that hole. They're both trending towards the same y value, right? They're trying to get there. That's the whole idea of a limit. You don't have to get there, but you just gotta try. You doing okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Limit. As x approaches 7, I'm going to make this a two-sided limit as well, right? Two-sided, look at both sides. How about here? Right? Right? My y value, I don't want to draw lines through everything. So, you know, if my bug's traveling here, my bug's traveling here, we can actually get to each other and shake hands, right? Because it's a hole filled in, so we can actually step on that value, shake hands, and try to occupy that shake hand. You okay? Okay. So, another quick comment. It's this type of question. Was it, who did I discuss this question with? Right? Sam, right? Okay. So you got my email. So I talked about this with Sam, and I'm like, oh, look at this question. Limit as x approaches 1. I'm going to sit down so I can kind of use my pointer here. Right? What's the limit of f of x as x approaches 1? Well, we approach 1. Here's the bug on the function, right? The bug's going towards what value? Yep, bug on the function going towards what value? Are those the same values?
No.
So it doesn't exist, right? For f. What about g? As we go to 1, bug on the function's going towards 1. Okay, bug coming from the other direction, going towards. Does the limit exist? No. Okay. What happens when I add them together? So the idea is when I add these values together, do they trend towards the same value, right? When I add these values together, do the bugs come together at the same y value? So let's look at that. Let's look at the left-hand limit, the minus sign. Let's look at this. What is the limit of f of x as we approach 1 from the smaller values? 3, right? Let's go hop over to g. Let's approach 1 from the smaller values. What are we going towards? 1. right? There's a hole there. There's a hole there that we don't care because we're just approaching it. What is 3 plus 1? 4. I could physically add the two functions together and watch it go towards 4 if I wanted to add them point by point. Does that make sense? Okay. Now let's go to the other side. Let's approach 1 from the bigger values. What's my limit of f of x? It's 1, right? I'm going towards 1. I'm trending that way. Let's go to the right-hand side of g. As I'm traveling down g, what am I trending towards? 3. Yeah, exactly. What is 1 plus 3? Are the limits on both sides the same? So does this limit exist? Yep. What's the limit? Limit's 4. Now I talked to Sam about this question, and guess what? I gave Sam the wrong answer. I'm sorry. I don't always do things right the first time. Some of these cons get tricky. I would say this is trickier than what College Board expects you to know. Sometimes con gets trickier. Con is really well aligned with College Board 98% of the time. Occasionally we get something like this. Okay? You doing okay? All right, awesome. Okay, so we're finishing up 2A topic questions. If you didn't do those yesterday in College Board, you've got a 2B topic questions due in College Board, and then you've got your con, you got the rest of the hour to crank that out. I'll come around and touch base with everybody. See if we have questions. Work in groups again. I had some great conversations going with groups of people. I could hear them. So I was moving about. Keep up that great work. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me mention something before I lose you all. The homework, aside from the con, see how I say unit 1, day 3 notes? You got notes to take for Wednesday, okay? My recommendation is if you go into Blackboard and download the video on your iPad, then you don't even need an internet connection. And then you won't be relying on that internet connection. And then when you're done taking your notes, just delete the video. Well, but because it's on Blackboard, you can always go back and get it.
Like later.
Then go to my YouTube channel. They're all there. You can be my